Time to do a product recon of the ZLL SG100 plus 2 4-channel brushless quad jet. I was looking for something that would get more than 5 minutes of flight time. You know, that was a quad. And something that would be easy to tilt orientation, something that would be powerful enough to carry an FPV camera, something that I could fly indoors or outdoors on our property. I can't do that with my planes. I don't have a helicopter large enough and powerful enough to put an FPV camera on. So I think this one is going to do the trick, right? So let's take a look at some of the specs, and I've got mine right here. So you can kind of see the size of it, right? It's pretty cool. It's pretty inexpensive. I got the 2 battery version. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got. In the box, you get the quad jet, you get the remote control because it's ready to fly. You have an option of 1 or 2 batteries that you can purchase with it. Of course, my recommendation is always to purchase as many batteries as they offer as an option, because that is usually a lot less expensive than buying them separately. So I bought the 2 battery version. Comes with USB charging cable, comes with 4 spare props, comes with 16 screws. I think half of those are the prop screws. Comes with a screwdriver and a user manual. All right, what else we got? Assembly. Everything is pre-assembled other than the vertical stabilizers. And they're secured with screws, so no glue is required for assembly. And that is the only thing that wasn't assembled, was just the vertical stabilizers. The props, everything was already installed on the quad jet. It's made out of EPP foam and ABS plastic. It has 4 1503 brushless motors. I wanted to get one that was brushless. They do make a smaller version that's brushed motors, but I just didn't think that one was going to get enough flight time. You know what I was looking for. I have enough power. So I got this one with the 1503 brushless. I do not know what the KV is on these 1503 brushless motors, but most of the 2S brushless planes that I have seen hit the market this year or the last 12 months with these 1503 motors, they're typically between 4500 and 4700 kV is what I have seen. Unfortunately, they didn't list the KV. The props appear to be 3-inch. I measured them. They're 3-inch diameter. The 4-blade ABS props. I don't know what the pitch is. There's no embossing on the props themselves to tell you what the pitch is. It's 4-channel, has throttle, rudder, aileron, elevator. The transmitter is mode 2. So the throttle and rudder on the left-hand stick and the aileron and elevator on the right-hand stick. The battery is, it comes in its own little case, and it's a 2S 2000 milliamp hour LiPo. They state the flight time is approximately 15 minutes. We'll have to see. Just cruising around with it, doing some rolls and some flips with it. We will see how much flight time we're going to get out of it when I take it out to the little place where I fly. The range is approximately 100 meters. That seems pretty short for this. I would be really surprised if it didn't get at least 200-300 meters. It will look pretty small at 100 meters, but if you're going to fly at FPV, yeah, you might get 200 meters away. I don't know. But we'll check into that too. Camera has 2 cameras. One camera is a 720p optical flow camera. I do like optical flow. If you're over the type of terrain that I fly over, it really maintains its position in a hover using optical flow. I found that it works very well with the little helicopters. So I don't have any reason to think it wouldn't work well with this, but we'll test that out too. It has an FPV, a Wi-Fi FPV camera at 720p. Now I have not seen a Wi-Fi FPV system yet that I liked. So what I am going to do is I'm going to install a 5.8 gigahertz standard FPV camera on this unit after I take it out and fly it a few times so that I can fly FPV with my goggles. So we'll see. We'll see how we can set that up. The airframe weighed 128 grams. The LiPo weighs 60 grams. So the all-up weight on mine is 188 grams, which I don't think is too heavy. Looking at the 4 brushless motors and the props, I think it should have pretty good power, for that weight. The functions, you got up and down, forward, backward, left and right. On your controls, you've got 3 indoor flight speeds. You've got 1 outdoor flight speed. You can do 360-degree flips and rolls. The rolls work really well, left and right. The flip only seems to work in flipping backwards. I tried doing it forward, and I could not get it to perform a stunt, a flip going forward. But it does do backward flips very, very well. You don't need a whole lot of. There's not a whole lot of change in altitude when you're doing a roll to the left or to the right, but it does require a bit of altitude when it performs its back flip. So just be aware of that. I don't think I would try that indoors unless I was, with a very, very high ceiling. All right. It has altitude hold mode. It has headless mode. It has a 1-key takeoff and land button. If you long press the takeoff button, it'll actually do a rolling takeoff. So it's got little tiny wheels on it. So if you're on a smooth surface, it'll actually do a rolling takeoff, more like a jet than a quadcopter. All right, it has a 1-key rotate and hover. So I found that I tried. I call it an orbit button because that's what it does. It really just performs a tight orbit, a tight circle. I've tried to get it to do that to the right. I've only seen it do it to the left. So I think it's pre-programmed to do a left-hand orbit circle, But that was kind of cool. Optical flow position point and dual camera switching. Okay. All right, so power button is located here on the top here where you've got this little ram or steer or whatever that is. Beast. So I guess it's some kind of beast. Anyway, that's your power button to power on and off the quad jet. Okay, and you can see the battery, and you've got a USB charging point here for the battery, and then you've got 2 locking tabs. So you rotate the locking tabs 180 degrees to put the battery in or take it out, and then once you seat the battery in, rotate them 180 degrees, and they lock into the sides of the battery, so the battery's not going to slide out on you. Here is the optical flow camera pointing straight down, and then you have your FPV, your Wi-Fi FPV camera up here in front. All right, and then the transmitter, like I said, it's mode 2, so throttle and rudder on the left, aileron elevator on the right. You've got a button here for switching between image and video recording. I don't know if that actually does anything. I couldn't see that it was actually doing anything. I mean, you've got controls. You got controls on your phone from the camera app that will record. I don't really think that the button actually does that. Here's your 1-key takeoff and land button. It looks like a padlock. I'm not sure why it's got a padlock icon on it, but that is your 1-key takeoff and land. And like I said, if you long press that, you can have a rolling takeoff with it. You got a button down here for headless mode. It looks like a compass rose. So that's kind of that's a good icon for that for headless mode. And then you've got on the other side, you've got LED light control button there. You can change the light pattern. I don't know if you can turn them off, but you can change the pattern because I've changed the light pattern on it. And you've got the power button over there on the left, and then you've got buttons here for tilting the camera up and tilting the camera down, which I think is kind of a cool feature to raise and lower the camera. All right, now we're looking at the top left-hand outer button, and that's your indoor speed button. So there's a plus and minus. So you've got 3 different speeds for indoor, and that is your indoor speed button. So there's 3 different speeds that you can choose from. And then over on the top right hand outer button, that is your stunt button. So, and I like the way this works. So you press the button and then you push the stick left, and then and then you center the stick and there's kind of a pause, and then it does the left roll. Same thing with the right or with the back flip. And I thought I like that a lot better with, a lot of these aircraft, they have these stunt buttons. Sometimes they'll initiate it immediately, as you push the stick. I do like having that little bit of a pause so that you've got the stick centered again before it actually performs the stunt. I think that makes more sense, so that you're not actually, so at the end of the stunt you don't actually have any input in the stick, if that makes sense. But okay, so on the left hand side, the enter button, that is your outdoor speed button. There's only one speed for outdoor. It does have pretty good bank angle and pitch angle in the outdoor. We'll have to see how well it does in 5 to 6 mile per hour wind, which is typically what I have when I go out and fly. Usually it's almost always somewhere between 4 and 6. So we will find out how well that works. And then there's your orbit button. It does that tight circle that I was talking about. It takes 3 AA batteries that are not included, so you do have to provide your own 3 AA batteries for the transmitter. And then it also has that pop-up phone holder. So if you want to fly it via Wi-Fi FPV, it will hold your camera, your smartphone for you, so that you can watch your FPV video on the screen. All right, so for the smartphone app, it comes with a little manual, and it's fairly intuitive. It's fairly informative, the little manual. And then it comes with a little 2-page sheet for the FPV stuff, and it has a QR code. So it has an app for iOS and Android. It has a QR code for app installation, and I used that. I just scanned the QR code to install the Wi-Fi app for the FPV video. And it creates a Wi-Fi ID called flow underscore, a series of numbers. But you'll see it. If you bring the app up, it'll show whatever Wi-Fi you're currently connected to with your smartphone, and you just click that box, and then it will bring up your Wi-Fi selection, so you can select flow, and then and the series of numbers, whatever that series of numbers is for yours, and then connect to that Wi-Fi, and you'll see the FPV video come up on your phone. So that worked fine. I didn't have any problems with that whatsoever. Here's what the screen actually looks like, for the Wi-Fi app. So you've got all kinds of icons around the border of this screen. Now it also has controls so that you can actually fly it via the app on your phone. But you can't do both. You can't have your transmitter enabled, and you can't, for controlling the quadjet, and have the phone app configured to control it at the same time. So make sure, and they state in the manual that it's very difficult to fly it with the phone app. So I would recommend you don't do that. Use the transmitter, and then make sure that you don't enable. There's the controller on and off. Make sure you don't enable that, so that it doesn't interfere with the controls on your transmitter. But it's got speed, photo, video, back if you have something recorded, I guess, your album, video edits, all that kind of stuff. I haven't tested all this stuff out. All I have done so far is just test to make sure that the video feed is working as it should, so I can see it on my phone. So I don't know how many of those will actually be functional. All right, so we're back to the beginning. So stay tuned. As soon as I have the weather, I'm going to be taking this out to the field and testing it out. I haven't flown a quad in a very long time, so I was wanting to get back into it and get back into FPV flying again. And I think with something this small, and the fact that it's brushless, I think this is going to work out really well for being able to fly indoors and out around the property when I don't have time to get everything ready to go out to the field because it's several miles down the road. Or if it's really bad weather outside, I have something that I can actually fly indoors, FPV. So I've got a little FPV camera, 5.8 gigahertz FPV camera that actually has an SD card reader on it, so I can actually do the recording at the camera rather than trying to capture it in the goggles. So that works a lot better because you don't get any breakup in the screen. So when I have an opportunity to get that all set up and fly it around, I'll post a video of it so you can see it. But anyway, that's the product, a Recon on this little quad jet. I just got it last week. I haven't had a chance to do anything with it until today. I'm hoping that I'll have weather tomorrow to take it out and fly it. I just took it out in the yard, made sure everything was working as it should, and then everything is working. There'll be links to it in the show notes. I will try to remember to put a link to the spare batteries in there too, because I ordered the 2 battery version, but I'm thinking about ordering a couple of spare batteries for it too. So if I have 4 batteries, I could do a lot of FPV flying with it. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so that's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time in the Tinkerz Lab.